I've got 82.
I got 82.
I've got 81.
I've got 81.
You're a number behind.
No, wait a minute. I wonder. Well,
One's a revised.
let's wait for Heath or
What's
Linda
the
coming.
what's the agenda?
Either way, yeah. We'll
It's the same damn thing.
Yeah,
One's
exactly.
just
That's
more
what I was gonna
condensed,
say.
I
Okay.
No, because wait a minute.
It says 81
You gave us
here.
82, 2012 when we went to Columbus. I have 82,
Yeah.
2012 too.
Well, I wonder if that's. Didn't Keith say something about because of we pulled that one ordinance, they were out of sequence, maybe?
Yeah, I think he did say something about
Okay.
that. So it's probably the same information.
Okay. I believe the information on it is the same, right?
82 is really 81, right?
Yeah. Dick, will you hand me that real quick? That ordinance
I
right
think
there?
of it is.
Thanks.
This is just half of it, isn't it?
Oh, mine's attached. See, I didn't get mine on Wednesday. I didn't get mine on part of that same budget.
There's 81.
All right, I'm looking at the numbers. The numbers on 81 seem to match the numbers that were on this old 82. So I believe the only difference between 81 and 82 is just that number. I don't believe there's any other difference related to the actual budget line item numbers that you see in the ordinance. All the totals are totaling up.
Because we pulled the police awards thing.
I
So
believe so.
everything's just been backed up one.
I believe that's the reason, yes. Okay. Yeah. All of the numbers are the same, other than the ordinance number.
It's the
So,
same. It's the same. It's just,
Okay.
the only difference is the number. This one doesn't have all the
Yeah.
budget sheets attached.
Give us the coup here.
okay.
Yeah.
If you look at page 22 of the 2012 budget, these are the expenditures.
I've only got 9 pages.
That's the ordinance. I'm talking the whole, all the budget
I don't
pages.
have it, so.
You got it
I've
Wednesday?
got it, but it's
Oh, not here. Okay, all right.
You wanna look at mine? We'll slide over here.
I'll share.
So it's
I think
page
he's making more
22,
copies of it.
Okay.
2012 budget. We had budgeted $7,074,000. In putting together this 2013 budget, we have shaved about $150,000 off of that. A little more than that, maybe it's 160, but I'll say $150,000 off of the budget request that we had for 2012. The areas where the reductions are include, and I'm just flipping through pages here, starting at page 1. In the mayor budget line items, there's about a $4,000 reduction. Council, there is none. The law budget, increases by about 24,000. The reason for that primarily are the attorney fees that we have in line item 110, 103, 5332. That is anticipation of contract negotiations beginning this year. Clerk of council is up by about 1,000. Auditor is up by about 50. Reason for that is the transition that we'll have play out this year between Linda and the new assistant auditor that we'll have.
50.
Is that his copy?
50.
About 50. 53
You want a copy?
is it maybe? I don't have a calculator right in front of me.
53.
It's going from 57,000 to 110,000.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So again, the reason for that is personnel expenses as it relates to the transition with Linda going part-time and us hiring a new assistant auditor to work with her for the year so that we can have a smooth transition in that very important role. Page 7, general admin is down about 180. Total government, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's general admin. The total government budget's down about 100. In the service areas, let's see here. Total service budget, we're up a couple thousand. Income tax, total income tax budget, we're up about 6,000. Total police budget in the general fund, we're down about,
Yeah. What is that?
30,000. Not quite 30,000.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna leave it.
The,
Yeah, I'm gonna leave
So you're on page 14 now?
Yeah, that was page 14.
Okay.
Page 15, communications, this is dispatching, up about 4,000.
Down 14,
Fire,
516.
we're down about 40,000. That's page 17, total fire budget.
We're down, now we're down in fire.
What page?
Full-time salaries are down because of retirements for this year, and yeah, and Kaufman coming in. Overtime is budgeted up a little bit compared to what we had budgeted for 2012. Um,
16. He's on page 16.
Hey, Mayor,
yes,
just since we had a break here a minute, I'd kind of catch up on stuff.
Go ahead.
Go through there. Just for example, like on page 17.
17, yep.
Yeah, and you have the very up the top, and you have travel and lodging meals for 2012 was 1,000. Now this year you're saying 0.
Yep.
And then you go training registration 16,000, and this year you got 13,000, but the 2012 was only 7,000.
Mhm.
And
As of the date that these were printed
so
out.
you're going to have more, and so you're going to be close to that. I was just looking at that. It's like it seems like maybe you could have made that like 10,000 or something, you know.
Yeah.
Same
And
as
stuff.
that. This is just
But
the simplified version.
you know, and you're anticipating that there is going to be more on some of these that are
Correct.
less than that. Okay, I just want to clarify.
And
that.
as with any line item, just because it's budgeted to have it doesn't mean it needs to spend it.
Right.
And anything not spent in line items either gets transferred to those line items which maybe have been overspent, or it's just put back into the general fund. Street lighting, health department, parks, page 20, total parks budget, we're down, what is that, about 60,000? Part of that is for the fact that we're not, other than softball, which pays for itself, sand volleyball, which pays for itself, and we have the agreement with the fireworks for Star Spangled Celebration, so we're going to try to do that event, provided that we have volunteers to do it. We've got savings as far as the other programs that we're not doing in parks, and the fact that Jan Wilkin retired this year, and that we're saving more than $30,000 this year by that contract that we have with the Arts Council for those services that of the executive director that Jan provided. Those are the two areas that I can think of that probably had the biggest impact there in the drops in the drop in parks. Let's see. Total. Where's zoning?
21.
21. Yeah. I can't think of any significant changes in zoning. Up a little bit on the personnel costs. So that's page 22, which takes us to the total general fund budget. Again, last year we budgeted at slightly more than $7 million. This year we're about $6.85 million. So in working with the department heads, and I appreciate their help in this, we've identified those cuts to the general fund budget for this year. Yeah, I guess. I'm trying to trying to remember from what we discussed, any other.
I'm glossed over on page
Okay,
18.
health department. Yeah,
thing.
okay. Well, wait, before we get into health department, that's a whole nother ball of wax. Does anybody have any, other than health department expenditure, does anybody have any budget, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going through these first 5, 9 pages. Go back to page 8 of 9, the first one where you have, well, I'm back on
Mayor,
all right, the first page. where the
Brian's
total-
using the,
He's not on the budget.
he's on the legislative request, it's the oversimplified.
The ordinance.
Yeah, the ordinance.
Go to the second page, if you would, where you have a total appropriation of 14,933,346. Second page, right? Yeah, that's it. You got the.
Okay, gotcha,
so
gotcha. Yep, yep.
Got your total appropriation, and then if you go down through the way you simplify, it looks like all these the totals are all bolded out when you read all the totals.
Yes.
If I ended it right, yeah, it's a big if, but if I operate this calculator properly, that was a total of 15,672,901. So it's about $739,000 of red ink. Am I right? Am I reading that right, or did I do something wrong?
We compared to,
These are all expenses.
So if I look,
I would I'd look at general fund versus general fund revenues, and all the other funds are gonna wash out. Like, if the question is, is the budget balanced? If so, how? Or,
I'm wondering if it is, and I'm not trying to be get-mater, I'm just trying to read and
No,
understand this.
well,
I mean, I try
sure.
to look at it more like a P&L, and I know we're,
but here's, and to simplify things, what I'm outlining are the general fund expenses, because the other funds, like water, wastewater, remember, some of these other funds have their own funding sources, okay? The general fund, which is dependent on the tax revenue and such, that's the one that's more unknown, I guess maybe I should say. When Linda works to put together, like, what you see for fire levies, what you see for the streets, what you see, these are all funds that are fairly well defined and fairly known as to what we're going to have coming in, and therefore then what we can have going out of those funds. So when you see a total appropriation of 14.9, what you're talking about there, as this says, you've got your general fund expenses, then you have your other funds that total a little more than 8 million. Those are the two that add up to the 14.9. Did that make sense?
so am I looking at the 14.9 as in the total income number as incorrect?
right.
Okay.
Here's I think where you should be. Okay. You should have a revenue estimate. And the revenue.
Does he have that, Keith?
I don't know.
Should have been in his mailbox, right?
So it's- Just, you got one there, just explain to me.
This guy, on the revenue estimate, everything that's 110 is the general fund. And we get down on the revenue estimate, this is all the money that's coming in from the different sources of 110. And we get down, here's how much was budgeted in 2012. That's how much was year to date. And this is what the estimate is for the budget. So, if you look at the general expenses budgeted for next year, it's this figure, and this is how much the revenue is.
All right.
So in round figures, it's a little less than, what, $300,000.
Okay.
And that's the number that if you're trying to figure out, is it balanced? If not, and ultimately what will, I've got that, you should have one of these in there that's a great big revenue estimate. And
It's
that's
at the far back, go all the way to the back.
There, gotcha, okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome.
So based on that, the 68 or 6.8 million,
Yes,
and then over here revenue coming in is 6.5.
correct.
So we're 300,000. So the 300,000 you're gonna take budget stabilization to share over there, or
Well, we don't know yet what we're gonna collect. We've gone past that just recently, maybe last week. We went past what we had planned to budget for as far as revenue in the income tax bureau. They're gonna obviously collect some more money between now and the end of the year, so that money goes to the general fund in portion, proportionally. And, so there's a lot of things that we won't know. The real key question for you, the other thing that will have an effect on this is the, cleanup ordinance. You spent, overtime in this department or that's gone above budget. You guys gotta clean that up, and that's gonna have an adverse effect. But there's gonna be some positive effect and adverse effect. And we won't really know exactly where we are until we roll the year, which is probably gonna be in February. And in February, we'll roll the year, and we'll see how close we are to that $2 million mark that we set last year. And it'll be really easy, simple math to figure out, okay, if we hit $2 million, you took in you spent what you took in and broke even. If it's $1.7 million, you'll know that you gotta transfer $300,000 for budget stabilization.
but for the ordinance and stuff, we don't have to have these two figures
No,
balance or show that they're gonna
No.
balance. Anybody throwing
no, because of the
carryover?
carryover.
Because of the money that's carried over in the general fund.
I mean, we don't even show a line carryover and show it in there.
Oh, your carryover's shown.
Not in the ordinance, is that what you're asking?
No, the carryover is simply shown on those the fund reports that you get every month.
Well, I guess my question is that then you're pretty confident that what you have here with the carry is going to be.
We try to underestimate revenue and overestimate expenses. We try to do that.
You never spend everything.
When I've spent months now talking about how lean our general fund budget already is, and we're trimming another 150 off. They're difficult cuts. They're difficult cuts. As Keith said, for 2012, we had budgeted that we would have income tax revenue of 5.3. We hit that figure about 11 months into the year. This budget is set up for tax revenue of 5.4. So again, you try to underestimate how much you're going to bring in. You try to overestimate how much you're going to spend.
Depending on what revenues come in between now and the end of 2012, you're only $123,000 away now based on what you're saying the budget will be for 2013. So that's, if revenues were to be exactly the same next year, this time, and our expenses, we did spend all that you had budgeted for, we're only $123,000 apart then, if you look at those.
Yeah.
I don't think that's where we're gonna land.
It'd be nice that's optimistic. Yeah.
Well, because we're losing, like even the estate tax is going away, so that's.
Yeah, that's an important point for this budget that I think needs to be known. It's almost unfortunate that the advocate's not here for this. When you look at the revenue pages, when you look at the revenue worksheets, and I don't know particularly what line item this is. Oh, I do. Okay. It's right on the first page of the revenue worksheets, about halfway down. 4145, which is the estate tax. You'll see that we've got 131,000 in there. Now, the reason for that is that we all know that the estate tax ends at the end of this year. But we have been notified by the state that we are going to be receiving $131,000. We will not get those checks before the end of this year. So those checks will come sometime in 13. Should there be an estate that settles before the end of this year, whatever that amount would be, we would also get paid in 13. But when you look into the future, when you look at next year's budget, the $131,000 that you see there in the estate tax, that will not be there.
Guaranteed to be zero.
It is guaranteed to be zero. So we will not have that revenue in the 2014 budget, which
We're 131,000 in the hole before we start.
well, that's one way to look at it, Doug. Yeah. that's the way I've been looking at it for the past couple months. Yeah. Let me give you an idea. At our current income tax rate, someone who lives and works in the city, or someone who works in the city and makes $50,000 a year, pays $700 a year in income tax to the city. It would take 185 jobs at $50,000 a year to make up the $131,000 that we have budgeted for estate tax. Just here in 2012, we've received almost $265,000 in estate tax revenue. At $50,000 a year, you would need to create almost 380 jobs to make up that difference. $50,000 a year jobs do not get created at clips of 300 to 400 a pop. It just doesn't happen. So we are getting squeezed and squeezed and squeezed. So, tell me which counts here.
Capital improvements.
To be honest with you guys, I have not yet put together the capital improvement planning document yet because we're going to try to do as little as we can. We have the license plate tax revenue from the streets. We're evaluating what we can do with that revenue in the way of paving so that we don't take it out of the general fund, capital improvement fund. We do have John's legislative request. You already know there's, what, 62 that's going to be coming out of capital improvements for that project.
I see 162 is your total,
Is what's going in.
right?
Yeah,
162?
Yeah.
We've already got 62 allocated?
correct.
And leaves 90 left.
90 left.
And which in order for us to do the things that we need to do, I envision the capital improvement fund balance having to drop again next year. And that's, as I said, just trying to handle paving out of what we can get out of the license plate tax revenue.
I mean, street department, we're going to need a dump truck, and that alone is $95,000 to $100,000 just for a truck nowadays.
Yeah.
Unless you want to lease it.
I know. That's throwing more money at it.
We'll be to blame at some point.
We want to talk about health department, that moving target.
Yeah, you guys want to talk about that? Okay.
Be to blame.
Just to give you an overview here in regards to the health department. Every 5 years, there's an agreement between City of Newark, City of Tascola, City of Heath, and the counties and villages in Licking County to fund the health department. You have a copy of the agreement, the proposed agreement, right now. Heath is the only entity not to have yet approved this. I had some questions for Joe Ebel at the Health Department that I wanted to have answered before I presented this agreement, along with my recommendation that you approve it. One of the questions that I had was related to the financing. The agreement spells out that the city of Newark is to pay $788,000 per year. That is down about $100,000 from what they had been paying. The reason for that is this. The city of Newark used to have its own health department. And at least prior to this past 5-year agreement, which ends at the end of this year, the city of Newark basically folded their health department into the county. The county agreed to take it on, provided that they did not take on any additional expense for doing so. There have been a couple of people who were Newark Health Department employees who have retired as county health department employees. And so the city of Newark no longer has to pay for those employees. I don't think they have been replaced by the county health department. So their expenses, in essence, then would go down. So this agreement spells out that Newark will pay $788,000. There was a concern that I had as to what the city of Heath, Pataskala, and the villages and townships then would pay, because the agreement says that we'll pay the difference. Joe explained to me, and after he explained it to me, I remembered this, that each year there's a meeting of the, what is it, the
Combined Board of Health.
the District Advisory Council. Okay. And we meet each year. So
Who's our representative?
I've attended. So we approve budget for the next year. Joe also explained to me that the way that the amounts are determined is based on property tax. I can print out an email for you that shows that the amount that we're going to be paying for next year, I'm going to say was supposed to drop to this 57.9 figure. The reason why I say was is because I received an email from him just today. Keith, I think I forwarded it to you and Linda.
I didn't pick up on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing a $59,000 figure on that. And I need to see, is that for this year or for the next year? But Joe gave me a 5-year projection, and again, I guess this would assume that property values would increase. A 5-year projection of what the city of Heath would be contributing. And the difference between those 5 years was no more than a few $1,000s. I can print the email out if you want me to. I just didn't do it. So the plan is that there would be incremental increases based on property tax values that would come to the city of Heath in this 5-year period. Another concern that I had is if you look at the agreement at section 10, towards the end of it, it says that in the fall of 2015, the city of Newark, the District Advisory Council, and the Health Board, the Health Department, will have a meeting to discuss future funding needs and strategies. I was concerned that the city of Pataskala and the city of Heath were not spelled out as having seats to that table. Joe has assured me that through the District Advisory Council, we will be invited to that meeting in the fall of 2015. What I didn't want to have happen is these entities somehow spelling out a different funding formula without us being able to voice our opinion on that. So Joe has assured me that in the fall of 15, the office of Mayor of Pataskala and the office of Mayor of Heath will receive invitations to that meeting. If not through the District Advisory Council itself, which we should anyway, through the Health Department itself, so that we'll have representation there.
Right. Right now, you've got just this guy's word. I mean, I'm not disparaging the man, I don't even know him,
Sure.
but that doesn't give us much to go on, and that guy happens to not be here 6
Yes.
months from now. Or God's dead tomorrow, you know, it
Yeah.
just,
Well, I've got the emails and the information that they sent me outlining this, number one. Number two, you have to kind of, and this is going to be hard for me to articulate. Maybe what I need to do is print out that email that shows you the projections, because it's based on property tax as to what we're paying in. Property tax values in the city of Heath are not going to increase to the point that we're looking at a $50,000 jump from one year to the next. We're not talking about a whole ton of money.
So the formula, you're talking about $3,000 to $5,000 from year 1 to year 5?
Correct.
Those are the kind of numbers?
You want me to go? I'll go print the email.
59,
Let me go print the email so I'm not talking on conjecture, that you're looking at what I look at.
I'll tell you something. Why a 5-year agreement? 1-year agreement. Every year, what's to keep it from increasing?
Large market, commercial, industrial. I'm not sure.
They come in.
Well, that's what it's saying, that's what it is. Base it on.
Well, say then,
Written contract.
I mean, and they charge, they charge
Fair.
they're taking part in that.
When you're thinking about kind of complicated about services, rent,
Increasing their sheet.
yeah, what's property got to do with that? You know, that even if everybody did it, somebody pull off residence, everybody newer trailer parks, which isn't the case. The bottom line is property tax, your service per capita is going to be skewed using a property tax base. I just don't care for that, but this must be a new formula that we come up with. I've never heard of property tax basis. It's a way. Years ago, don't think much of it. Think about it. I mean, when you think about it,
There's a bit, the guys just go to township out here towards County.
Unless commercial industrial.
high ticket
Per capita.
high ticket value in commercial
Yeah, that's
property.
right.
They'll have
I think you're gonna have everybody else are gonna say
Stuff like that, I mean, they
culturally property stuff, right?
Yeah, and I don't know how their formula is derived from property tax. Again, if it was just residential, that might, you might be able to take that too better, but the value of residential versus the value of newer
$30,000 next year.
would, if
We might say.
the higher values,
Advisory council.
you get a higher assessment.
That's exactly right.
Then, if that's how their formula works,
Entire
I don't
city's
know.
tax assessment,
Yeah,
both residential, commercial.
it has nothing to do with numbers of people served.
Right.
And maybe it shouldn't. Maybe poor people should be served more with health department needs, and probably are. I don't think. Keith?
But a county and a village would get it.
What are they providing? All
I
the
don't know.
advertising on the cable channel?
Yeah.
What are they providing?
What service the health department provides?
What are we getting for 60 grand a year?
To do everything.
Yeah.
What are we getting for
One
60?
ninety
Contract
property
it out,
tax
it probably costs us at
is
least
going to the health
Robert
department.
said the
So
lights
maybe
are out on
reconvene and all
79
that.
Overland Drive.
I'd really, yeah.
That must be part of that.
for the whole.
It's a moving target, we don't like the formula. We
we've had-
don't even know what services we're getting. You think we got a problem here in Houston?
He has a presentation where he will explain how many service calls, how many
I don't care what it costs, it'd be well.
flu shots.
Sorry,
how many
I had to
types of
refill the copy.
tests
That's
per-
our target.
I'm multitasking around here. I stand corrected. The amount in the email that I got actually is a reduction in what we'll pay next year, down to 55.9.
But it is not a finite number, it's going to be based upon.
Yes.
And this is on the city's aggregate tax valuation, residential, commercial, industrial.
Task, oh, I'm looking at something that you guys don't have. This is the letter that I got from Joel. Taskell and Heath's assessments are based on property values and may change as the valuations are updated annually by the county auditor. For 2012, Heath's property values dropped, so their 2013 funding level also is reduced. For Taskell's values increased only slightly, resulting in flat funding for 2013. So you can see the kind of chart that Joe tried to kind of outline for me. And as you can see, it assumes, since the amounts increase, it assumes a increasing property tax, which I hope that's the case. I hope property taxes values go up.
Where does it explain in these pages what we get for our $50,000?
It doesn't.
Oh.
I don't believe, unless in the general agreement it might. It doesn't in what Joe sent, these emails that I just printed off for you.
If you look at,
Tim and Cletus and I
look
would
at
remember
page 4.
times that the health department's been in and explained
Page 4.
in pretty good depth what they
Of
do.
the ordinance.
I'd like to hear it again, because I was just talking down here, I'd like to know what we're getting for bang for our buck.
Well, let me pose it this way. Given the number of restaurants that we have, does anybody think that Heath doesn't need health department services?
Oh, no,
Okay. So the alternative to this agreement is to have a Heath City Health Department. Anybody want to create that?
No, thank you.
Okay.
We're just,
Okay. It might be in the agreement, and if you'd like, I can easily ask Joel to come join us some evening.
No, it just tells you what you're gonna be. We're good. If it's here,
and what
it's
about the
good.
villages and townships? It says somehow they're gonna share in the cost, but it doesn't really indicate that, the way it reads.
On the email you gave us, it certainly shows that.
No, it doesn't show that, but it says City of Newark shall provide $788,000 per year. The villages and townships of Lincoln County, Ohio, through the District Advisory Council of Lincoln County General Health District, the
Yep.
City of Pataskla and the City of Heath shall provide the remaining portion. But it doesn't really outline, are they paying something and how much are they paying?
They are paying something. The amounts aren't outlined. I don't know. I don't know 100% for sure how that. If ours are based on property tax values and Pataskala's are based on property tax values, if I had to make a guess right now, I'd say that theirs are based on property tax values, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
Someplace like Granville, which falls under the county, has some of the highest tax values anywhere in the county. What are they paying? What are they, you know?
I don't know his chart, but Dwayne's got a question.
Well, you just threw out the health department, but those restaurants pay for all that too, do they not? Every restaurant I know pays the health department. Even the concession stands have to pay.
Yeah, you gotta get permits and all that.
You've
kind of
gotta,
stuff. Yeah.
the restaurants, and
Licenses.
they also get fined for violations, do they not?
Yeah.
So this, the health department does that by fees on restaurants. What are they doing for the city of Heath?
Do you have a copy of the agreement there, Jeff? Yeah, can I just look at it real quick, please? Thank you. I don't believe our services that we currently receive are being reduced as part of this agreement.
Probably not a question for tonight, being at 7:17.
Yeah,
We
again,
probably
I
want to
can-
get Mr. Evil in here, a committee, whatever the appropriate committee.
The
would
combined
be.
general health
Some of the
district will
questions.
strive to provide high-quality public health and environmental services to the community, which shall include the following: A, conduct and disseminate assessments focused on population health status and health issues facing the community. B, investigate health problems and environmental public health hazards in order to protect the community. C, inform and educate the community about public health issues and functions. D, engage the community in order to identify and solve health problems. E, develop public health policies and plans. F, enforce public health laws and regulations. G, promote strategies to improve access to health care services. H, maintain a competent public health workforce. I, evaluate and continuously improve processes, programs, and interventions. J, contribute to and apply the evidence base of public health. I'm not quite sure what that means. K, maintain administrative and management capacity. That's what they outline their services shall include as part of this agreement. If we want some more detail on that, again, you can have Joe. But this is not a new agreement. This is not new language. I also have a copy of the 2008 agreement that went into place. It is almost verbatim. So I would expect to see no alteration in the services of what we currently receive.
And it's always a 5-year term.
It's a 5-year agreement. Like I said, but in 15 they're planning on having this meeting to focus on future funding needs and strategies and whatnot. And like I said, that's where I was concerned. I wanted to make sure that we had a seat at that table.
Now, is this thing being waived tonight?
No, we can pass it Thursday.
That's a normal agreement that's been going on forever. I wouldn't do.
I don't understand it. You think the emails are gonna change it?
Well, we can, any agreement can always be amended. So we can have, we can have amendments that to this agreement in the future. Obviously, they have to be agreed upon by all parties.
Gas the driver.
I'm just make sure we got the
Wages, you never get there.
So 15, so that's just 2 years, 3 years from now. So
Well, you have to charge people something.
Well, I know that,
it's his successor. We
yeah,
got something to whatever it says. Well,
that's part of the
we're
agreement.
here.
Yeah,
We signed this with this end.
yeah. The city of Pataskala was appreciative of the thoughts and concerns that I had raised as to the structure of the agreement, and I communicated with them as far as the information that I was getting with Joe. I've shared with Tim Boland and Mayor Butcher all of the information that these communications that I got from Joe as I was talking to him.
All right, I think we need to do
Anything
caucus.
else, we're done with finance, beat the budget for done. Good night.
In caucus, Mr. Morrow.
So the good news is we're going to save about $2,000 compared to what we have right here on this. Yay!
Happy days.
Invocation, Mr. Morrow, since Clay's in here, okay. Election appointments, Mary, you got the oath of the new fire department?
Yeah. Yeah.
The fire dependency board, that probably just read, and we'll just probably have, I don't know if we have to approve that or not. And then the mayor, you've got, 2 appointments?
Yes.
Okay.
I can double check on those, Tim. I think they're mayoral appointments, but let me check.
Okay. Then come down to do the committee reports. Introduction of ordinances. The first one need waived or anything? reimbursement of the legal counsel indigent, we do it every year. You know,
I don't know the answer to that. Do you know?
Ask the question.
78.
the first one, 78, 2012.
That goes second.
Guys, please waive that.
Waive that, that's what I was thinking, waive. Jeff, will you do that? Okay. 79,
Tim, I'm gonna go check on those appointments, okay?
okay,
That's referred to planning commission, right?
yeah. That hasn't been to planning commission yet, so that's, we can read it and then refer it to
Right.
planning commission, so, just read it and automatically probably
Read
go
it,
to,
and then you can say,
it'll be referred to planning
refer to
commission.
planning commission
Okay,
after you read.
yeah,
Right.
okay. Then number 80, we'll read that. And I guess we decide, do we want to approve that tonight or want to just hold it till Thursday?
Thursday.
Okay. Hearing no other thing. And then 81, the budget would be the same thing, read it on
Thursday.
to Thursday, okay. Okay, and that brings us to set ordinances, the sewer charges.
77, well, take care of that. Okay.
That has to do with not reducing the sewer charge rate. And that's gonna be, tomorrow. All right. Anything else for caucus? Nope, you got 5 minutes?
Oh,
Oh, you said.
my lap.
like,